Welcome to What a Creep, the show with Margot Donoghue and Sonia Mansfield talking about creeps from the past to the present.
This is your quick guide to the biggest creeps, jerks, assholes, and losers, the best of the worst.
From two nice ladies who want the world to be a little less creepy. Welcome back to What a Creep. This is Margot Donoghue, and my cohort in creepitude, as always, is the amazing Sonia Mansfield. Hey, Sonia.
Hello, friend.
Hello, my friend. You're using the mic like Elvis just now, adjusting it.
Yeah, I was just adjusting it. And do you want me to sing a little something for you?
Did you see the trailer today, ma'am? Baz Luhrmann does the Elvis Presley movie. Have you seen it?
No.
It looks good. It actually looks good. Tom Hanks plays Colonel Tom Parker.
Oh.
It's Berman. It's like this big, lush production.
Yeah. I will absolutely check it out.
Yeah. So check out. It just made me think of it the way you were holding the mic, because that's the way Elvis used to do it. You need to just pinwheel your arms.
Thank you very much.
Anywho, we are the show that talks about creeps from the past to the present. We take turns talking about creeps. Today, Sonia's going to tell you the creep, and then I'm going to give you a non-creep that'll hopefully cheer you up and make you feel like the world isn't on fire, which it normally does feel like. You can find us on social media. You can find us on social media at Facebook. We have a basic Facebook page. That's where people go to complain about our language. This is our cue to tell you that we use salty language in this program.
Fuck yeah.
We also have a private Facebook group. It's What a Creep podcast group. You have to ask to join. We have 3 questions. Just listen very carefully at the front of the episode. You should be able to answer them. And we also are on Twitter, but we're on Twitter at CreepPod because somebody had What a Creep for 10 years and never used it.
What a fucking creep.
We're on Instagram at What a Creep. And we have a basic old-timey email, whatacreeppodcast@gmail.com. Spell it all out. And we will send you stickers if you would like some. I sent a bunch out and people are writing back to me saying that they got them. So
Yay!
Congratulations for that. We want to thank Riri VB on iTunes for leaving us a 5-star review.
Nice name.
We do love that. And I do know, by the way, for all of y'all that use Spotify, you now can rate the podcasts. So you go to the top for the show and there's like the little 3 buttons on the right. You tap that and you can rate the show. If you feel like leaving us a 5-star review, that would be amazing.
I'm going to leave us 1 star. I like more misinformation in my podcast when I listen to Spotify. 1 star.
Oh my goodness. Did you hear Jon Stewart? The other day.
What'd he do?
Oh, he's just sort of, there's so much information nowadays. It's just ebbs and flows. It's really hard to know who to trust. And I know.
Jon Stewart.
I know.
Please be careful, Jon Stewart.
Please be careful.
Careful, Jon Stewart. Yes.
I want to thank Kelsey and Leslie for joining our Patreon page. We're going to have seasons 1, and then here's the big news. Season 4 is going up on the Patreon page.
You better all listen right now.
Yeah, listen to it right now because it's going to be going up there real soon. We also put out 2 bonus episodes per month. Plus, we have a newsletter that goes out. But look, if money's tight, we totally get that. Just tell a friend about the show or, ask for some stickers put on your laptop, go to the coffee shop or wherever people hang out. And let them know your love for What a Creep. We really appreciate that. And Sonia, do you want to talk about the website?
Yes, you can go to whatacreeppodcast.com. And it's everything you ever wanted to know about our podcast, but we're afraid to ask. There are links to all of our episodes, except the ones in seasons 1 through 4, obviously, because they're behind the Patreon wall. And there is a link to our merch shop where you can get T-shirts and tote bags, notebooks, whatever strikes your fancy. There's ones with our logos. There's you could get face masks that say maybe next year. I wear mine all the time. And I've also uploaded a design, Damn It Max, which looks real great on a mug. I got a mug and it's adorable. Everybody drink.
I need to get a T-shirt of that. Our T-shirts are super soft. You cut them open and you can use it as a sleep shirt. Super comfy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. I always wonder, because you say this, that you're afraid to ask. What are people afraid to ask about our website?
I don't know.
I wonder. Let us know.
I assume dirty things.
Let us know if there's something you're afraid about asking that's not addressed on the website. Just in case.
Yes.
Sonia, who is our creep today?
this week we are going to be talking about Clarence Thomas. He is I know. He's been on the list for a while, and one of our Supreme Court justices, Stephen Breyer, I think, let's say yes, is retiring. So there's going to be a whole confirmation hearing. It's probably going to get real shitty. So I was just thinking about, who else sucks? Clarence Thomas. So let's talk about him. Sources for this episode include the documentary Anita, which is streaming on Amazon Prime if you want to watch it. I have quite a few sources here. ABC News, Slate, Mother Jones, The Nation, New Republic, New York Magazine, The New York Times, The New Yorker, Politico, Think Progress, 2 articles from The Washington Post, including one called The Nominee Soulmate. Ooh. And it's it's gross. It's an old interview with Ginni Thomas, who we will be discussing here at the end. And then, of course, the usuals, Britannica and Wikipedia. So Clarence Thomas is a justice on the Supreme Court of the United States. He's only the second African American to serve on the court after Thurgood Marshall. Since 2018, Thomas has been the longest serving member of the court with a tenure of 30 years.
How is that possible?
I know, right?
Oh my God.
He's also a real creep with a history of sexually harassing women. Super cool. Let's start at the beginning. Clarence Thomas was born June 23rd, 1948 in Pinpoint, Georgia. He was the second of 3 children born to MC Thomas. He was a farm worker, and his mother was Lola Pigeon, quote unquote, Williams. I assume that was her nickname, not her middle name. Maybe it was. And she worked as a domestic worker. She was a maid, housekeeper, things like that. Thomas's father left the family when he was 2 years old, when Thomas was 2 years old, not the father. And Thomas's mother, she worked really hard, but sometimes she only got paid pennies a day.
Jesus.
It's bullshit. The family often struggled, and they were forced to rely on charity. And they had a house fire, which left the whole family homeless. And Thomas and his younger brother were taken to live in Savannah with his maternal grandparents. And that's Myers and Christine Anderson.
Wow.
And that's when it was his first time living somewhere where they had indoor plumbing and running water, all that stuff, all these amenities.
Beautiful. I don't know if you've ever been there.
It's gorgeous. I have not.
It's gorgeous.
He attended an all-black Catholic primary school, and then he went to a boarding school that was a seminary. I guess he was interested in going into the church. He graduated from that boarding school. He was the only African American in his class. He attended the Immaculate Conception Abbey in his freshman year of college, but he left because he felt like the church really didn't do enough to combat racism.
Oh,
there's an interesting turn for Clarence Thomas, but we're going to get to it. He transferred to the Holy Cross College in Worcester, Massachusetts. Is that how you pronounce it? Worcester?
Yeah.
Am I wrong? Are you making fun of me?
I don't know. I think it's Worcester.
Okay.
I know it's Dorchester with a D.
He went to some school somewhere, and then he graduated. While he was there, he actually founded the Black Student Union, and he organized a big protest one time when some African American students were suspended from the school for some, prank that they pulled, while the white students weren't punished at all for it.
Doesn't happen anymore, does it?
No, not at all, because there is no racism anymore. He graduated from that school with a bachelor's degree. That was in 1971. He went to Yale University. He got a law degree. That was in 1974. And then after that, he had a series of jobs like we all do, right? He worked we all had jobs like this, as an assistant attorney general in Missouri. He worked as a lawyer for Montesanto. Everyone's going to correct me. He worked as a legislative assistant to a Republican senator named John Danforth in Missouri.
Monsanto?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. everyone, I can't even apologize enough for all the things I mispronounce. We should just start putting that at the top. Like, we use salty language. Sonia will mispronounce things. We know it's a thing.
It's fine.
So during the presidential administrations of Reagan and George H.W. Bush, he served as an assistant secretary of the U.S. Department of Education, and he also worked as the chairman of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, the EEOC.
Really?
Yes, this is going to come up a lot. And he was also a judge on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the federal district in Washington, D.C. He was appointed to that position by George H. Bush, the first Bush. So in July 1991, Justice Thurgood Marshall, once again, the only African-American ever on the court at this point, announces his retirement, and Bush nominates Clarence Thomas to replace him. And obviously, like, this was smart on Bush's part. Like, he's going to replace the only African-American on the court with another African-American male. But while Thurgood Marshall was quite liberal, Clarence Thomas is not. Let's just say he is not.
No.
So he's replacing a very liberal judge with someone who's quite conservative. So there was bound to be a lot of objections, and it was going to be a fight. So on top of the fact that he's just more conservative, he really didn't have a lot of experience being a judge. And
really?
Yeah, at this point, like he'd worked for the EEOC, he'd worked for the Department of Education, and he had only been a judge on the U.S. Court of Appeals for a year at this point.
Holy shit, I didn't realize that.
By the way, has Brett Kavanaugh ever been a judge?
No.
Like, yeah, right? And Amy Coney Barrett, I don't know if she had either. Fuck those people. Anyway.
Yeah.
So he had little experience.
It's a very political process. I mean, it depends who's in the White House, who's in the Senate, who's in the House of Representatives. There's a lot that goes on when it comes to picking somebody. Yeah.
Yeah. This is when confirmation hearings for justices started to get super contentious. It used to be presidents could nominate whoever they wanted, and people would just pretty much sign off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Thomas is kind of the start of this like hyper political, really contentious confirmation hearings. So he hasn't spent a lot of time on the bench, and he also refuses to answer questions about abortion, which, by the way, Brett Kavanaugh also did. And he claimed in his confirmation hearings, I don't really discuss that issue. I'm like, fuck off.
It's only been the most hot button issue in America since 1970. Yeah.
Yeah. So on top of all of those things, he also, it turns out, likes to sexually harass his female coworkers. Whee! So here comes Anita Hill. She's a black law professor at the University of Oklahoma, and she worked for Thomas in the EEOC and the Department of Education. And she was approached by the Senate investigators when they were doing like a background check on Thomas. And she submitted her statements, and she said that Thomas repeatedly asked her out and made sexually offensive comments to her. And by the way, a couple of women submitted very similar statements. Hers were leaked to the press, and then it started this whole firestorm. And then the Senate Judiciary, that came out very wrong, but committee,
good.
Yeah, was led by then Senator Joe Biden.
Oh boy.
Yeah. They asked her to testify. None of the other women testified, by the way, just her. And we love to talk about how super fucking racist this country is. Excuse me, my nose is running a little bit. It's also really fucking sexist.
Yeah.
So sexist. And here's Anita Hill, African-American woman, called to testify in front of a bunch of old white men.
And there were cameras everywhere.
Yeah,
it was
cameras
televised.
everywhere.
I remember that.
Answering their questions. And she told the truth. And this panel included such upstanding citizens as Ted Kennedy, who really has
Drunky Mick, let a girl drown.
Yeah, Mr. Drinky Let a Girl Drown is there